Um, I wanted to tell you all a rehabilitation story this morning. And these are our patients. These birds came to me about a week ago, maybe a little bit longer, visiting with friends. And they were not laying any eggs. They were pretty sick. Most of them were coughing. They had pus and blocked nostrils. A lot of very, very pale combs. So see if I can get a close up of some of these birds. See how their combs are now sort of a pink? There was a lot of yellow in their combs. And they're not old birds. So it wasn't that. They were sick and they had respiratory issues. All the coughing and the throwing of kind of stuff was a respiratory thing. So first thing I did when they got on the property, they are isolated as a flock, and everybody got a shot, half mil of neuromycin, which is a cattle and like pig pneumonia medicine. But I scaled it way down for these birds, and it's intramuscular, and it's only like a one-time shot. So everybody got that. And then I have a spray. It's called Scarlet Spray, but it can also be called Blue Coat. That's an antifungal, antiseptic spray meant for the outside of wounds. And what I did with that was I sprayed each bird right in the front of her head, like in her nostrils and also in their eyes, because right on their eye, because there were a lot of eye infections too. There were a lot of runny eyes and things. And so, because it's antifungal, I spray it on the nostrils as well. They breathe that in, and for whatever reason, if it's a fungal infection, it seems to help. So between the neuromycin and the spray, I think we covered what bases we could. Now, I do have the Vet RX, but I didn't end up using that. They got the spray, Scarlet Spray, it's called Scarlex, or Blue Coat on their heads and in their nostrils, and then the neuromycin just one time intramuscular. Each one got one in a leg. And now a week and a half later, there's no coughing. We see a lot more dark reddish and pinkish combs on them. The eyes have cleared up. The nostril swelling, their nostril areas were actually pretty swollen, has reduced. And the other thing that was a bad sign with them, and I think it's nutrition. If your birds are pecking at each other's eyes or noses or anything, they are nutrient scarce. They need some nutrients. And usually for laying birds, this is my opinion now, I've been keeping them 25 years, they need a lot of calcium and they need a lot of protein, as well as, you know, regular grain kind of corn kind of food, carbohydrates and all that. So we let them out so they can be in an area with lots of greenery, so they can get bugs or seed heads or grass if they want. Program of protein based and calcium based foods. So sunflower seeds were right off the top in there. Then I also got, here, I'll show you the mix. I also bought the bag of, what do you call it? Like soldier worm larva or regular layer feed. And then I did put in some eggshells. They should have been smaller. Ideally, you would have ground them up, but I didn't have time. So there's the worms, there's the sunflower seeds in their layer stuff, and also this probiotic in their drink, because there was a loose stools. We got them in their eyes, we got them in their lungs, and we got them in their gut. So a week eggs, because their owners were going to butcher them all because they weren't laying any eggs. But they have to have 14 hours of sunlight and a certain amount of calcium and a certain amount of protein to be able to lay eggs. And then that has worked great. Yesterday's food additive was a mixture. It was a whole can of powdered milk with some eggshell and some egg, which they didn't know was egg. I stirred it all up and it just became this clumpy white thing with sunflower seeds in there. So it was calcium rich, protein rich, and just full of the kind of things they need. And this is the egg I showed you is the second egg, and I can see other of these hens looking around for a place to lay. So I left this kennel sideways so water won't pool in it. And the first egg, you can see there's a hen back there getting ready to lay an egg. The first egg was laid in there because it's dark and roomy and it's the right size for them. And I put that hay in there so it would nest up. I actually kind of made a nest like bowl in the back. She can have some privacy in there and lay her egg without having to be in and amongst everybody else. So I thought I would show you some of the other nesting areas I made for them. And they're not perfect, guys. I know you guys can probably do a really good job, but I don't have a lot of time, and I do have resources, but this area is kind of far away from where my other normal operations are, so I'm not always near all my stuff. But we've got in here these pallets that I laid down in the winter as kind of a windbreak, but back in here I've got a fake milk crate with some fake eggs, just in case they like to eat eggs. They kind of let them know that eggs really aren't edible. And then the second egg was laid right here in this little pocket. And then right next door to that, we have a whole nother little quiet, dark area. And behind this, there's another kennel that I put hay in on the other side of that pallet. I put hay in that one too. And then outside, I did a space. And they may not lay into all of them, but I wanted them to have options, because with 20 plus hens, you're going to have more than one hen laying at one time. There could be 3 or 4 of them. So right over here, I have a tire. And right in here, I put some more hay so we can, if one of them likes that dark little space, you can go in there. And then right here is that other kennel, in case one of them wants to go in there. And then around the corner is a pallet with some more hay. They have options. They have options for getting away, having a little quiet time, not having to share space. And they've got a water here and a water in the other corner, or 2 or 3 old. She will lay. Now, will she eat her eggs? Depends on what condition she's been in, depends on if she's had to for nutrition or was shown how to do that by another hen. But the fact that I've been able to get 2 eggs so far tells me they may not have been conditioned to eat their eggs. And so I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for them, and I'm hopeful for their owner and their egg production, because their mama wants eggs out of these girls. So that's my rehabilitation story. I hope you could take some points from what I did with these birds if you're having issues, to help you improve your flock. Thanks for coming along, y'all. Shalom.